This president doesn't have good faith disagreement and these orders. He does not care. He is a lawless criminal. And we have basically a criminal regime. And if you believe that they are going to are going to abide by court orders, they're not going to do it. They're already probably trying to slide around the court orders. One of the things that he's a narcissistic sociopath. That's the thing everyone has to kind of get used to. It's the reason why you cannot normalize him. You cannot treat him like a normal human being because he's not. He is unwell. And that's why he can't he's not going to be able to follow his lawyer's directions. That's why, he played right into the plaintiff's hands in the E. Jean Carroll case. They're trying to show basically he's a jerk. And what does he do?
This president operates without good faith. Agreeing or disagreeing with orders seems irrelevant to him. He simply doesn't care. He acts like a lawless criminal. And in truth, we are dealing with a criminal administration. If you think they'll respect or follow court rulings, you're mistaken. They're already, most likely, looking for ways to bypass them. One of the biggest issues is that he's a narcissist, and that fact alone is something people need to accept. This is why he can't be normalized or treated like an ordinary person, because he's not. His mental state is unstable, which is exactly why he can't follow his legal team's advice. This is the same reason he practically handed victory to the plaintiffs in the E. Jean Carroll case. They wanted to show he was a jerk, and he played right into it. George Conway, the man who's been jabbing at Trump's fragile ego for years, detonated a truth bomb we've been waiting for. Something shocking happened live on national television, and this time Trump couldn't spin it, bury it.
I guess they don't like me, but let me just tell you, these are losers from day one. Guys like Bill Kristol. He's 0-32. George Conway, you take a look at him. Just take a look at that guy. The man's a stone-cold loser. So they should not call it the Lincoln Project. It's not fair to Abraham Lincoln, a great president. They should call it the Losers Project. Okay, thanks.
One of the things that is sort of interesting about the Trump people is they're not loyal to each other, and not even to Trump in some ways. I don't mean the Trump voters, but I mean the people around him. They are all as self-interested as him. They are all trying to make money by acting as gatekeepers to Trump.
Or storm off in protest. But Conway didn't stop at Trump's failing presidency or his legal instability. He went further, tearing into the cracks in Trump's so-called marriage, revealing it to be more like a staged business deal than a real partnership. The way Conway delivered it, calm, calculated, straight to the camera, felt less like opinion and more like a public autopsy of Trump's private life. During this, Trump was seething. He tried to dismiss his critics, calling them losers from day one. He mocked George Conway's appearance and sneered at the Lincoln Project. Yet one telling observation about Trump's world is that the people around him aren't truly loyal, not even to Trump himself. I'm not talking about his voters, but his inner circle. They're as self-serving as he is, all seeking profit by acting as gatekeepers to him.
The other thing that he did was to show that this is his modus operandi. He intends to. He's willing to use the threat of violence or to incite violence in order to coerce government officials to either forego enforcing the law against him or to, violate the law as he sought to have Pence and members of Congress do on January 6th.
Conway showed that Trump's public image is just an act. He stripped away the illusion surrounding the marriage, claiming there's no romance here, just brand management. Melania, he suggested, has mastered the art of silence, not from loyalty, but as a survival tactic. Every glance, every avoided touch, every icy kiss is part of a deliberate detachment. While Trump's lawyers are fighting on one front, his personal image is collapsing on another, live in front of the cameras. Conway wouldn't guess at the deeper cause, but the patterns he described were enough to make seasoned anchors go silent. He He revealed that Trump's standard approach involves threatening or inciting violence to pressure officials into breaking the law for him. Exactly what he tried to do with Pence and members of Congress on January 6th. And Conway still wasn't finished.
First of all, you're ruining your own reputation. Secondly, you're betraying your profession, your professional oath. Thirdly, you are betraying your country because you're doing harm to your country, because you're creating the impression that this administration cannot be fought for all of the illegalities that we've been talking about. Right. This is an administration that is punishing people because the president is a convicted felon and is angry that he was almost brought to justice, and he wants to inflict harm on the government, and also his people he wants to inflict harm on our legal system, and he also wants to deter people from fighting back to all the illegal things he's doing. And when you capitulate to him, you are encouraging them to send more people to El Salvador, including potentially American citizens, because they want to create a system where everybody's too afraid to provide legal services to fight against the illegality. And one more thing here is, they're doing this because of money. Yeah. Money, and here's what's going on with this. The firms that are capitulating, and I know this because I spent 30 years practicing at a law firm that did mergers and acquisitions work, okay? And it's a very lucrative form of work, and you get paid only if the deals go through. And you get paid a significant amount, a percentage of the deal. It's lucrative business, and it's fine business in ordinary times. And they're afraid that the government won't approve the deals of their clients. Well, sorry, guys, you're destroying your reputation in an environment where there aren't going to be any deals because the president is destroying the economy and the U.S. dollar. So you are doubly foolish.
Instead of painting Melania as a victim, he framed her as a quiet strategist who helped Trump rise. But when the scandals hit, Access Hollywood, Stormy Daniels, Jean Carroll, she disappeared, as if a brand manager was quietly shelving a failed product. Conway asked whether her silence meant she was protecting herself from the fallout, or that she was part of the game. He noted her cold public statements, distant body language, and careful timing. The dismantling of the Trump household being slow, deliberate, and calculated. He accused those defending Trump of ruining their reputations, betraying their profession, and betraying their country by normalizing illegality. This is a president who is lashing out because he came close to being brought to justice and wants to damage the legal system itself. The law firms enabling him are, Conway said, motivated by money.
They don't want to obey laws, they don't want to obey rules, they don't think they apply to them. And Donald Trump has no moral conscience and no empathy. He does not care about anybody else other than Donald Trump, which is why in his first term he said, Article 2 lets me do whatever I want. Article 2 of the Constitution. The first Trump term, which I call Shit Show 1, was an assault on the rule of law, but it was only it was like cancer. It was like a stage 1, maybe stage 2. We got to stage 2 right around January 6th. And he was a threat to the rule of law, and then he went into remission.
Worry their deals won't be approved if they oppose him. But that's short-sighted because Trump is damaging the economy itself. Conway argued they were being foolish and irrational. What startled viewers most wasn't just Conway's words, but the implications. He almost confirmed the whispers about Trump's declining mental state, the paranoia and meltdowns behind closed doors. Melania, Conway said, is smart and avoids direct confrontation. She might be protecting one thing, herself. And then came the grenade. What if Melania has been keeping records? Could she be building leverage before leaving? Social media erupted at the thought that the biggest betrayal might come from Melania, not the courts. Even Trump's allies fell silent. Trump's greatest fear, Conway said, is her knowledge.
After Donald Trump won in 2016, your name was floated as someone who might work in his administration. You turned that down, and
I was offered the job of head of the Civil Division of the Department of Justice, and I filled out all the forms. They ran my background check, and I was and I was interviewing people who were going to work underneath me. I was sort of far along there, and then I just started having this queasy feeling like I don't really want to work in this administration, because what I saw was a shit show and a dumpster fire. And I just got to the point where I just couldn't do it, and so I didn't. And I was one of the best decisions I'd ever made. Okay, I admit I was wrong to support Donald Trump in 2016. I was horribly wrong. It was a horrible exercise in judgment. I knew better. I should have known better.
Not because she would testify, but because she wouldn't have to. Her silence alone holds power. Trump himself once said Article 2 of the Constitution lets him do whatever I want. Conway compared Trump's presidency to a disease, Stage 1 being an attack on the rule of law, Stage 2 culminating in January 6th, Stage 3 ignoring laws outright, and Stage 4 defying the courts, being fatal to democracy. He warned that Melania might be Trump's ultimate insurance policy or his ultimate downfall. She has witnessed everything, and Conway claimed Trump lives in constant fear she will speak. Conway admitted he once considered working in Trump's administration, but backed out after realizing it was a dumpster fire. He called supporting Trump in 2016 one of his worst mistakes.
Stage 3 is basically where we are ignoring laws and running roughshod over laws. I mean, they're basically refusing to spend money appropriated by Congress, which is against the law. The law requires the president to spend money. The president can't not spend the money that's been allocated for particular subjects. And you've got this guy who's not been appointed lawfully under the Constitution.
Let's talk about that.
Musk. Yep. And so that's Stage 3. Stage 4 is going to be, well, these courts are telling me not to obey orders. Why should I? I don't want to obey the law, so why am I obeying the courts? And Stage 4 is metastasis. Stage 4 is when democracy can die, and the rule of law can die, and constitutionalism can die. And we unless something happens radically, I can't see how we don't get to Stage 4, because the logical path that they are taking, which is that the law doesn't apply to us, and nobody can enforce the law against us.
Throughout, Conway tied Trump's legal tactics to his marriage, both driven by leverage and transactional loyalty. Melania's quiet, Conway suggested, isn't weakness, it's preparation. If she leaves and speaks, the entire illusion of Trump's control shatters. When asked if he feared Trump's retaliation, Conway said he didn't. Trump, he explained, is a bully who targets those who won't fight back. He warned that if Melania chooses to walk away, she won't just leave, she'll blow everything up. And if that happens, it won't be about embarrassment or infidelity. It will be about the secrets she's seen firsthand. For the first time, Trump's most loyal supporters might feel the chill. Because if Melania turns, she could unravel the myth of his invincibility.
You don't want to diagnose him, but I think if you look at the diagnostic criteria for narcissistic personality disorder and antisocial personality disorder, he fits every single one of them. It's like the criteria were made to describe him. And I think what we saw with this tweet yesterday is that last final collapse of Donald Trump's mental state. I mean, you think about it, those were like 50, 60, 70,000 people in the aggregate in five rallies in different states. That's loopier than saying that the moon landings were staged, because there were tens of thousands of people were there. To think that is crazy, and to try to sell it to people is just as crazy. He's done. His brain is...
Conway called Trump a sociopath, impulsive, power-hungry, and forgetful of his own words. Trump thrives on the feeling of control, only to grow bored and contradict himself. Conway hinted that Melania's absence from the campaign trail might not be distance. It might be preparation. In Conway's view, she's not staying to protect Trump. She's staying to survive him. And if she ever makes her move, her silence will become the storm that ends him. He ended by pointing out that Republicans fear calling Trump out, even as he cozies up to dictators like Putin. Conway speculated that foreign leaders might one day reveal files on Trump that could be explosive. And then came the sharpest cut. Conway declared Trump irrelevant. History, he said, has already forgotten him. The internet erupted. The phrase "Melania knows" trended within minutes.
Tara Schreckman wants to know from you, George, do you expect Trump to target you and other staff of the Lincoln Project? And if so, do you have a defense plan?
I don't have a defense plan other than whatever he pulls up is going to be meritless. My finances are simple. It won't, I don't fear him. And I think one of the things that that people don't quite understand about Trump, but they really should, is the fact that he's a bully and he wants to pick on people who won't fight back.
The next time Trump was seen, his flushed face, tight lips, and clenched fists told the story. This wasn't just political damage. This was personal. Conway left the audience to fill in the rest, suggesting Melania might already be gone in spirit, and Trump's allies had begun abandoning ship. His voice carried the weight of finality. The strongman image was crumbling. And finally, staring straight into the camera, Conway delivered the blow Trump would hate most. He is no longer feared. He is pitted. For a man like Trump, pity is the ultimate defeat. And for Melania, the question of why she stayed may follow her for the rest of her life.